But what I was
What's the
saying,
damn question?
Luke, who sets your soul on fire in the battle scene?
Oh, that's
But I'm gonna know. Don't tell me
So-
some new guy's fucking name I don't know about.
Yeah. I really like MT Pop.
Nice.
That's nice.
Really like MT Pop. Like, I love his style. There's a lot of dancers that now, because I'm getting old and nostalgic, that they set my soul on fire in the way that they dance because of how it made me feel at a certain time.
I think
Because
that's so important.
someone like Djidawi is like one of the people that inspired me the most in my dance. And like, even to like know him on a personal level now, or like to be able to talk to him, is like, my 18-year-old self is like, whoa,
I can see
you know,
that.
like, it's such a nerd. But like, well, I think like, say watching him dance, it's like the way that even watching old videos of him, because of my position in the, let's say even in the UK scene or even in the world scene, like, I'm not good, but in terms of I've been around for a long time and I'm used to everything. I've been at a lot of big battles. I've seen a lot of amazing people in my life.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that make me feel now how I felt at 17, 18 watching some of these people like Djidawi or people like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Totally.
So it's like I don't get that same like
Excitement.
you're just almost like absolute like wonder of like, what am I, this is magic, what am I even seeing? Because now I'm a bit seasoned, and even if I'm seeing someone who's like the best in the world live, I'm recognizing like, oh, this is amazing, but in my head I'm like, okay, cool, but you know, you got a way to go, and this other guy can beat you, and you know, yeah, but your business mind is not there. Like, my brain is a bit more used to this thing, whereas when I would see someone like Djidawi, especially like the first time I see people like that live, even Salah, but there wasn't that same connection. Like, when I saw Djidawi's dance, I was like, oh my God, I could do that for the rest of my life. And it's like, watching that live, I was just like, I'm not thinking about anything else but this one round in front of me. And this is like watching a magician. Like, I'm like, that sense of like wonder. And I really rarely get that these days.
But I think it's such an interesting point, because I think like your perspective of like who's good, who's not, depends like it depends a whole lot on you, on your disposition, on how you can welcome like someone else's art. Sometimes you're not available, and something could be really great, but you're just not into it.
Yeah.
But I think that maybe that's why too, in a sense, you know, there's always not a disconnect, but between like the older generation and the younger, who's seeing people like, let's say if you're 19 now and you're looking at someone in their late 20s or early 30s with like wonder and just, oh my God, this is so amazing, and that person is magical. And then you have an older generation who's like, yeah, what they're doing is okay, but like, you know, so I think maybe
it's hard to connect between the two.
Of just the perspective that you have now might be like one of an older person who's seen more and just is like, oh yeah, you're good, but you know, oh, you're missing that, or you don't have that, and blah blah blah. And instead of seeing everything the person doesn't have or is missing, maybe when you're younger you see just what the person has,
and everything's new. Like, you haven't seen that for 10, 15 like even, you know, I'm trying to think of like even someone like MT Pop, who does give me that a little bit of that taste of like, whoa, like I didn't see that coming, like that's so creative. But even that, it's like anything that he does, I've seen poppers do for 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, and not in a way of like, okay, he does it differently to a different sort, but it's like, okay,
I think he's gonna call you out still. Keep going.
No, but it's like, I mean, as in, he's not levitating, like he's doing tuts. I've seen it's new tuts, it's new glides, it's new waves, but it's like, I've seen waves for 15 years. Like, when I first started dancing, this is like the first year I've ever seen anyone do a wave. So when it's a good one, it's like, holy shit, you know? So it's like, it's not that it's not, you know, he's not, someone like MT Pop is doing unique stuff, and a lot of the dancers are doing unique new stuff.
No.
Cool. That's great.
Drama.
But it's just like the genre that he's doing. I've seen popping as a style for 15 years. It's like anything that you see for that long, you're going to lose a bit of the love, or not the love, the magic.
You get used to it. It's like, c'est comme la corne sur tes mains. It's like a, what do you call it when like skin gets hard? On your fingers when you do chin-ups.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say.
Example. Keep going. Keep going.
It's like the same thing that happens on your feet.
Okay. Yeah, we understand. What's the connection?
Ooh, my bad.
Your skin isn't as sensitive, and
you're
by
not
skin,
sensitive, and
he
you
means
only
emotion.
discover something once.
Yeah, but emotional
That's true.
callus.
Yeah, all right, I like that.
Okay.
Emotional callus.
Callus.
But I think also what I think it was what you said about the disconnect between the younger and the older. I think we're doing what I'm doing in terms of the podcast and in terms of like wanting to create infrastructure for at least the UK scene, if not bigger one day. I've had to make a conscious effort to not have that, to not let my calluses
Emotional.
yeah, because what is very easy for the internal me to do, and I think I see a lot of people who are maybe my generation who maybe don't dance as much. They look at the younger kids, or they're like, meh, yeah, it's cool. Like kind of how my instinct is like, meh, it's cool. Like, because they've seen all this and they've seen, also when you're looking at an 18-year-old, it's like you're not looking at the finished product. Like you're looking at a very beginner version. So I think for someone like who's been around longer, you have to actually train yourself to look at the potential and look at the magic that could come and is coming, as opposed to just looking at it and going, but you don't make me feel like Salah used to make me feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really hard to get that.
And I think
it has to be an effort. You're right.
And I think I know a lot of people that maybe aren't as much in the scene anymore or whatever, who kind of they're not passionate about anyone new now. Whereas I feel like I am, and I'm really excited about this stuff, but because I've trained myself to be like, okay, look objectively, don't think about how you feel instinctively, look at like how this person could grow or what this means for the scene. Like when someone new comes into the popping scene, I'm excited because I'm like, oh, we don't have that now, like, and you're bringing something new, and I could see the potential if more people come in. Like for example, I talk about Silk. There's a guy in the dance scene who's a very good contemporary dancer and really, really highly trained, and he works professionally as a contemporary dancer. When he came into the popping scene and really started to like, there was a period where he was kind of just doing basic popping. He went away and did his training and came back, and he started bringing his like contemporary training, his flexibility into his popping. And for me, everything changed from then, and he got really good. And I think I've seen other dancers that do the type of stuff that he's doing, and I could be like, meh. But the reason it made me so excited, because I was like, you're bringing something into our scene that nobody else at this point in time is bringing into our scene. And I was like, I'm excited for the diversity that this is bringing and what this is going to mean for future events and future battles. And when you see that paired up with someone who does really strict boogaloo, like this is going to, so I'm looking for things. I mean, it's this thing with life, isn't it? It's like if you look for the positives and you look for the excitement, you'll find it. If you look for reasons to hate everything, you'll find it. So it's like, now that I've like switched my brain of like, okay, look for what excites you and look for, and it's part of the platform, but it also changes the way I think. It's easier to have that. It's a different type of magic, but I think it's almost like a proud dad. Before I was like a kid being like, oh, my dad's the greatest. And now I'm like the dad that's like, you guys are going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like I have this like I want to kind of pat them all on their head and go, keep going, guys. You know what I mean? Like
there's so much love on this podcast. It's too much. We got to bring it down.
All right, cut someone out. Who you hate?
Who I hate?
Yep. Quick, first thing that comes to your head.
Spread hate. Don't spread hate.
I didn't expect him to answer. Seriously.
No, he was about
He
to.
was really looking.
He was thinking about like he had probably 10 names.
We believe
he had
you.
probably 10 names in his head. He was trying to sort through those names.
Eeny, meeny, miny.
No. Okay, I need 3 more names. Give me your top 5. So you gave me Djidawi. You gave me
in terms of
MT
influence
Pop.
on me.
No. Set your soul on fire.
Oh, set my soul on fire. Okay, Djidawi. Yeah, we could
That's
throw
nice,
in
J-Style.
MT Pop in there. We could throw in maybe someone like Alex the Cage is up there for me for sure.
That guy's round versus Joseph Go.
He's fire.
Oh my God!
Alex
When we just like he was just like
oh yeah.
He was just insane. That guy's insane, dude. I love. Oh yeah.
He's really dope.
So Alex the Cage.
Yeah, he's probably in my top. Who else do I like even?
Feist. We talked about Feist.
Feist is like a. I love Feist like I love like a uncle or something. You know, you know what I mean? It's like
tell me more.
No, but it's like for example, my people in life is like Salas, Djidawi.
Salas,
Djidawi, Marvin, and Feist. Like I would credit them with like me as a freestyler is like those 4 are like the people that I watch, and between the 4 of them I was like, oh yeah, I want to do this shit. You know what I mean? And they're not my only influences, and they're not the people that like all of them set my soul on fire in that way, but they were my original 4. Like they were the Mount Rushmore of like, I want to do this shit. Jeez.
It's funny because like in the names that you named, there's a lot of things about geometry in there.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the angles and like and a lot with the arms also.
Yeah, I like cleanliness and like intricacy and stuff. That's why I like your dance.
Oh,
to be honest, that was like the first thing I was like, oh damn, he's got that like, and I feel like a lot of North American dancers don't prioritize that. Like I feel like it's more about like which I love, like the feeling and the rawness and the not that you don't have that, but like I feel like you have a no, but I feel like you when I watched you. I mean, I haven't seen loads of your dance, but you're really like almost European with your cleanliness and your intricacy. You know what I mean? Like, and you have that. The style from the North American dance, which is I always like, that's such a fucking sick mix. But
I gotta go back to Europe now.
Yeah, but I think that I mean, anyway,
dude, you should, man. You should fucking go tear their asses up.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back.
I feel like I was gonna say something, but I forgot.
Because your Mount Rushmore, that's
Mount
the
Rushmore,
four.
top
I had
five.
another one. So Djidawi, who did I say?
Salas. Your own top
No,
four.
the-
okay. Empty Pop.
Yeah.
Jidawi,
Feist,
Alex,
and
Alex
Joker.
the Cage. Who's Joker?
Joker from Yudat.
Oh yes.
You know him? He's definitely maybe even more than someone like Feist, because Feist is more of I love his dance and I love what he, without knowing me as a person, what he did for my dance. But Joker is someone who I'm like, every time I watch his shit, I've spoken about him before on the podcast, but every time I watch his shit, I'm like, this guy is like, I don't know if you have this, but people who are like, they're so good, but in literally exactly how you want to dance. Like someone like
Storyboard P.
Right. So like for me, Storyboard P is amazing, but I don't want to dance like him. Like I just want to watch him. Whereas Joker is like, he's like, I said this before, but he's like the evolved Pokemon of me. You know what I mean? It's like I watch him and he's like, he does everything I want to do, but better before I do it. I'm like, this motherfucker. Every time he puts out a video, I'm like, I'm like looking into the future of like, oh yeah, this is me in 10 years, but he's fucking younger than me. You know what I mean? But you said that's like you with Storyboard P?
Yeah, every time I watch Storyboard P dance, I'm like, damn.
Like same artistic tendencies, this type of stuff?
The choices he makes. Why don't you want to dance like Storyboard P? I don't get it.
Me?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
It's just like
You don't have toes?
I don't have toes, man.
Is that why?
No, it's just feet. Like
if you don't have toes, you can't stand up.
If you don't have toes, you can't stand up?
yeah.
Like it
Balance.
destroys
You
your
have no
equilibrium?
balance.
Yeah.
So your balance is your toes, your eyes, and your ears. I was with a guy. I was chilling. This is story time. I was chilling with a guy who's like lost the use of his toes, and he's like, if I get in a room where there's no light, I fall on the ground.
And you find that funny?
Because my sister is laughing. It's not funny, his condition. Jeff, I fucking love you, bro. It's not about that.
Would he find it funny?
Who cares? He's not gonna listen to this. But anyways, did you guys know that?
He actually falls on the ground?
He falls on the ground if
But
there's
just
no
if there's-
light.
That means he can't see, and if there's no you don't need
Yeah, like
sound,
if you can't find your bearings in the room, you don't know which is.
Yeah,
And what if you turn on the music really loud?
I don't know.
Does he stumble?
You know,
or
it's
it's
not-
like a
it's not
straight,
He
your
falls. It's like I can't keep my balance. We were talking about this
Okay,
like
but
a couple
he
weeks ago.
stumbles. It's not like a
He just
right
drops.
away.
Maybe he falls like a tree. It's dark. I don't know.
But
Damn.
how did he lose the use of his toes?
It was actually a
The
tragic
use of
accident.
his toes, or he lost his toes?
He lost the use of his toes. Like he's basically like standing on his heels all the time. And he was doing a show, a theater show where he was dancing. Why the fuck are you laughing? It's a tragic accident.
I'm not laughing.
He was doing a thing and he fell. He was hanging and he fell and he lost it. It's
Damn.
terrible. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that's bad.
I feel bad
That
about
is
laughing about everything now.
Damn, that's
But laugh is a
Coping mechanism.
it's a coping mechanism. You can
Shout
laugh
out
when
to
you're
Jeff.
nervous. You can laugh when you're sad. You
True
can
say. True
This
say,
is a
true
good
say.
excuse. Well done.
yeah.
Yeah, shout out to that homie, yo.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Jeff, bro. We love
And
you.
he put his name out. Wow.
Yeah. We should yeah. So anyway, no, but I think you said why don't I want to dance like
Yeah.
Storyboard P? I think it's I think for me, I don't know if you guys feel the same. I feel like dance is like you're expressing like certain aspects of like your personality or things that
Yeah.
I think if you have a really good seasoned dancer, it doesn't happen straight away, but after a while, you can really see someone's personality through their dance, and not in the kind of artsy fartsy way of like, oh, you can see the soul of the dancer or whatever. But it's like by the choices you make, I can see what you like. So if like I know you know Marvel from UK, Popper?
Yeah.
He's very exactly. And if you look at his
Iron
dance,
Man.
it's very structured, very detail oriented, very precise. There's not really a lot of like rawness to it, not in a negative way, but it's just very processed and structured. And he's like that as a person. He's very like he likes things the way it is. He's very like methodical in the way he thinks. He's very organized. And it's like, you can really see that in his dance. And I feel like, let's say someone like Kieran is not, he's like not the opposite of Marvel, but he's not so clean and not so processed in his movement. It's very raw. And even if it doesn't look super pretty, all of his stuff,
The
like,
feeling's there.
and he prioritizes that. He prioritizes, but it felt good. It felt like what I wanted to do in the moment. And I think, again, it's like with Kieran, it's like he's going to hang out with someone just because they make him feel good. Not because he's thought through, what's the pros and cons of being friends with this person? Like, or
Marvel does that?
no, but it's like,
Marvel, you think about the pros and cons of hanging out with people?
but
What a
I wouldn't be
freak.
surprised.
Woo!
But you
Just
know what I mean?
kidding,
Or
I
like,
love
let's
you,
say if
Marvel.
I'm like, let's go to this restaurant. It's like Nick's gonna I don't know, I'm imagining, but maybe he's gonna like look up a review and see the stars and see what meals they serve. And if it's Kieran might like just look at a picture of the door and be like, it looks kind of, let's go, man. Like,
Oh yeah,
you
they,
wanna go?
they
Like,
have vegan food. Okay. I'll go.
yeah. He's gonna go with his gut feeling, and Nick is gonna go with the logical. Like, this makes sense for me to do this, and I don't want to, waste my own time or whatever. And I'm speaking.
What's the optimal decision?
Yeah, and I think you see that in their dance, and this is just my kind of perception of that. But
So what do you see in Storyboard P?
I don't know his dance well enough to guess, but it seems like a bit more of the Kieran spectrum, a very raw way of moving. Because also I feel like I don't know. Again, maybe there's like other styles that I'm not so familiar with, but he's a bit more outside of the box, right? Like he's not so like a popper or a hip hop dancer, like how you would expect.
Really.
And I think to do that, you've really got to have a feeling first approach because you're like, even to get the validation, it must be 10. It's hard in popping to get the validation if you're a slightly outside of the box popper.
Slightly.
And it's like, imagine to go, I don't belong to any style. I'm just going with how I feel and how I like to move. It's like, you've really got to care mostly about the feeling.
Yep.
Which, that's not how I am in life. I'm more of the Nick spectrum. You know what I mean? I'm more of the like, I'm going to consider all and that's why I like all the intricacy and like you might have a billion aspects to your dance, but the first thing I noticed was the cleanliness and the I'm like, yeah, that's the stuff I like. Because it's what
that's what you gravitate to.
And what I like in life. I like, even when we're choosing fucking rugs for the house, like I don't want the messy patterns. I want the intricate
Structured.
line. And, you know what I mean?
Do you trip balls on like the videos of like 50 people doing tuts together? Does that make you go crazy?
Yeah, I mean, like, especially when it first started, how do you say it? The geometry
variable.
Yes.
Geometry variable. It's hard to say.
Yes.
Okay.
Geometry
But like when they
variable.
first came out, and like one of my friends is in it, who I knew from ages ago. So I was already like, I saw their stuff really early on because I knew him. And yeah, I love their stuff. But now I think it's a bit. One other aspect that I really like is I like to be surprised. And did we say this about humor? I saw we were talking about like I've got to be caught off guard to laugh. Like if I see the joke come in, it doesn't get me. I have to, and the more off guard I'm caught, the funnier I find something. And it's the same with dance. Like you got to catch me off guard to really make me love the shit. And I think the problem with their stuff, and it's not their fault, is that so many people have copied it that it's like, and this is what like big credit to Sadek because he keeps pushing it. Like he does one thing, like he did that orchestra. You seen that?
Yeah.
The orchestra
When you
thing.
turn your head, speak into the mic.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Damn, I got told.
That's right.
When he
Caught
did the
you
like
slipping.
orchestra thing, it's like he does it, and then like 50 other videos pop up online, and then he does something new, and 50, and it's kind of like he's great at pushing the.
Like leading the wave.
Evolving his style.
Yeah, and then but it's just annoying on a broader scale because I'm like, I see so much of his style that I don't get caught off because it doesn't set my soul on fire. You know what I mean? Because of how diluted it's become, which is a shame for them because they really had something.
Do you have problem liking stuff when it gets too popular?
Only for that reason. I'm really the opposite of like I'm not one of those people that's like a hipster, like, oh yeah, no, I used to like them before they got big. Like Drake's one of my favorite artists and he's like the most popular fucking artist, right?
I love him.
But it's like I still need to have that feeling of like being caught off guard and it's something fresh and something new, which I feel like I get from Drake. Like
How far back do you go with Drake though?
Pretty far back, like when he was still doing like a lot of the features and singing on the hooks for like Lil Wayne and stuff. I liked him at the beginning, but I didn't love him until he started like rapping. Like until he started doing the like 5 a.m. and you know that shit.
Ooh, yeah.
All the
9 a.m. in Dallas. To
Yeah,
me,
yeah. When
still
he was
one of my favorite
checking
Drake
his
tracks.
watch and checking his location, that's when there's trouble. But yeah, I mean, yes, I'm not like, oh, if something's too popular, I go away from it. But if it's so popular that I see it everywhere, it doesn't. That would happen to me with a song. So like, I would love a song, but if it gets played every day, everywhere I'm going, everyone's playing the same song, I'm like, okay, I'm bored of it now.
Yeah.
And it's the same like that with dance moves, with style. If everybody's kind of dancing the same, I'm like, it's like, you're great, but you know, I've seen this version, I've seen this. That's why, I mean, why Green is so great to still be Green, because there's so many Green clones. For him to still be fresh is like, okay, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I feel like that with I mean, there's loads of dancers you could name, but there's when they're the twins. The twins clones made me a bit bored of the twins, because I see their style so much that I'm like, yeah, this again.
That video though from Just Debout, when they were like when they first came out with their like really strong dual energy, bro, those battles were like holy shit.
And the jeans the other way.
Yeah.
The video, the World of Dance video.
Yeah.
That's like yeah, they really like. That's how you know they've really set something, because they had like a style that people copied, a way of moving.
Oh my god, dude!
They were a brand already. Like it's like no, that was crazy.
That's not easy to do.
And they're like, you know, yeah, those twins are like, those guys are incredible.